Okay, I know this looks like a crazy mess, but I just got into this and thought, oh no, I have to film this and share it because this is just turning out to be so cool and so much fun. In HOP, it's our Facebook group by Teresa Salghetto, we're doing a swap right now, and it's brooch pins and or refrigerator magnets. So I've really not made a pin, a brooch type pin, since I got the filigree. Now Teresa sells everything almost except the mica powders and stuff that I'll be using. And I just started playing actually last night, and I thought this is just too cool. I just have to share it. It's not going to be an organized tutorial at all, but I used, let me show you what I'm so excited over this. Let me show you what I used. I can't even see that. Let me find something to put it on that's dark. How about my phone? Okay, you can see it on my phone, can't you? I used cling stamps. And I rolled them out. I rolled some black clay out. And the ones I've used so far are the feathers and the butterflies. Because I'm making a pin, a brooch pin, for my swap partner. And I rolled out some black clay, I used Primo, on a number 3, which is a medium thickness, so it wouldn't weight down the pin whatsoever. And I put my cling stamp on my acrylic block and pressed it down and made a really deep impression. That's the thing about this. The impression has to be deep enough to where you can do something with it and you can see it all. Okay, what I did with it, let me get these blades because I've moved these around so many times playing with them. I used the Born Pretty Mica Powders. And I used the cool colors here. The greens and the blues and the purples and the pinks and different shades of blue. And these are the original Born Pretty powders. I don't have anything else. I just bought original set maybe, I don't know, 5 years ago or so. And I really like them on dark clay. And they just give more of a really cool effect on dark clay. Okay, so that's where I started. That's where I started playing in this little journey. Now, I have another one already done, another feather. I'm just starting on the butterflies. And once I got into doing this, that's when I thought, I gotta film this. Somebody else may want to do this. Okay, these are the feathers. And the only thing about using the cling stamps, you can't get a mirror image. So that was one thing I had to think about a lot. These are just the regular metallic ones. These are the golds, the silver, the bronze, the coppers, and things like that. Because I'm going to put it on a square filigree. And I'm not going to change the color of the filigree. I'm going to leave it the antique bronze. So I thought that the butterfly on the antique bronze, and I think I'm going to place it about like that. And I'm going to add a little bit of clay right here in the center. And I have selected a small, tiny orange of all colors. That used to be one of my favorite colors. I still love orange. But this just called for something cool. And I thought orange was cool. especially with this. And I know a lot of you don't think the way I do. I'm crazy, and I know it, and I've been creating for so many years. I mean, when you've been at this over 60 years and still get this excited over something, then you're nuts. So, this apple's nuts. But I will set this orange stone in there. Now, let me see if I can show you without the light doing too much of a reflection. So I'm going to set that in there, and then I'll put a pin back on it. And we'll go through that. Now my pin backs are a little bit different than the ones that Tiny Pandora sells. I don't think she has them like this. I had bought these pin backs years ago and actually never used them. But this is a cool one, especially for me or people that have problems with their hands. All you have to do is press down on this bar and flip it out. You don't have to take your nails and try to get it unhooked to get your pin part out. They're a little bit on the small side, so I may have to put 2 on some of them. And the other thing I have purchased that I'm going to try to use, because I've not used these either, are tie tacks. And it's like a post earring back with a really sharp point, and then I don't know what these are called. Just squish in on these little sides there and open up, and that's how you take off the larger part on your smaller part. So that's how that goes together. So I thought, okay, and Teresa sells better ones than these in her store too. That's tinypandora.com. And if you've not been there, you need to go there. There's so many things there that you can get just as excited over as I am. But I'm going to treat this like a post back and embed it in a layer of clay that I'm going to put on the back of the filigree. And you do not have to use filigree. Once I get these done, then I'm going to do them using clay and doing some other designs, because for some reason this has just really caught my attention and I'm really into this. I can see such a creative thing that you can do with these that it's endless. Okay, so I want to take my largest butterfly, and this one's not done yet. I want to take it, and I use a little itsy bitsy paintbrush. This is a really fine detail brush to put on my mica powders. Now you don't have to use mica powders, but I wanted the bling and the glitz with this, and I want the rhinestones, and I just want that. Okay, this was also the antique bronze. That's why you get such a dark antique look to it. And I used a turquoise teal Inca gold over top of it and just put it on there. And once I bake this, the Inca gold is permanent, so I don't have to seal the filigree part. And my big butterfly is going to go on it. And I had to sit and think of what's going where in case I want to change the color of the filigree on some of these. Now this, I think I'm going to change it. And I may change this one to a purple Inca gold. And I am going to put a larger stone right here in the center. Not sure which one yet. I haven't got that far. But I just thought these leaves were so cool. And the pen, once it's done, I'll have to decide to put the back on to where the pen sits up and down vertically, or if it sits horizontally, or I can put the tie tack on it in the center, and it can sit any way whoever wears it wants to wear it. This is another one. I wanted to use this large feather. I just thought it was a cool feather. Let me get it to where you can see it. And this was the largest piece of filigree I had, this lengthwise. So I'm going to put that feather on there. And then I'm going to attach this feather. And where I'm going to put rhinestones, if any, I don't know yet. That'll come. But I will change the color of this filigree if I decide to use more pinks, purples, greens, and, you know, cool colors with these leaves. That's not a definite decision yet, because I think the metallic butterfly looks great on the original antique filigree on this one, the antique bronze. And so I'll leave that one alone. This little one, I'm not quite sure. I have another butterfly to do something with that I could put on there. That'll fit. And it's okay that the edges stick out some. I don't have this butterfly cut out yet, but it comes out to here, so it sticks quarter of an inch, almost a half an inch out off the side of the filigree, but that's okay. It's going to be strong enough to hold that. And the way this one's made, I'm going to put a stone right here in the center, and it's going to hopefully hold this down a little bit where the butterfly wings will flare out some. And I've got that one, that feather, and I'm just not sure what I'm going to do with it yet either. Okay, let me show you how to put your Inca Gold on your filigree. And I know I'm going to do this one in purple. When you're using Inca Gold, do not put your fingers in your Inca Gold. It will contaminate it. And Inca Gold, as far as I know, only comes in these large containers, which I think is ridiculous to begin with. But I take a toothpick and I go in and get some out. And it doesn't take a lot. These containers will last for years. And I put it down here on the corner of my workstation. Let me get a baby wipe. Like I say, wasn't ready to shoot this video at all. I just got so excited I had to share it, because this turned out to be so much fun and so many different things you can do. So first off, I want to test this Inca Gold. I'm going to rub my finger in it and put it on my finger, and I will rub over it. Now I don't need to thin this one down. It's not dried out. If it's a little bit dry and you can't get it to spread like this, then you can add a little bit, and I mean a little bit of water to it, and it will thin down enough to where you can use it and get it in all of your filigree parts. Out of all the things that I've done over the last 20 years in polymer clay, I cannot believe I've not made one of these. But you know, there's a time and a place for everything, and I believe that. And the last several days of my life, I've needed this. It was election day yesterday, and luckily I voted early, but you know, we need peace. So I've been a little bit stressed over the election. So this came at a good time. Now, I totally changed that to a purple lavender color. So let me get this mess cleaned up. Cause I know a butterfly's going on this one, so I think I'm going to make it silver. And you can get a really good deal on Inca Gold at blueberrybeads.com. I'll put a link in the description below. David and Jennifer LeBlanc has all sorts of Inca Gold among clay. If you need clay, that's a place to order it. They carry all different brands of clay and beads and just tools and texture sheets and stuff. They're a really good place to get some supplies with. Now that's how simple and quick it is to do this. We changed this from that dark color. We have see the difference? We've got the silver, and it looks vintage. I mean, when you put the Inca Gold on the filigree, it looks vintage, and it's just really a nice effect and really cool. So let me get all of this cleaned up, and I'll come back and we'll start doing the big butterfly to put on the teal. I'll be right back. Okay, I set my feathers just on that piece of filigree I turned purple. And look for a stone to go in there. And instead of a round one, I think I'm going to put this more squarish shape. Because it doesn't matter if you wear it that way and you pin it on or vertically. It still looks cool. So I just wanted to show you that one, because I did decide on that one of what I'm going to do. Okay, let me show you what I'll do with these Born Pretties and other Mica Powders. When I got Born Pretties, it did not have names on it. It just had Born Pretties on there. So I took a piece of black clay and a piece of white clay, and I marked them off in equal squares, and I did each color on there, and I started with one. It actually split. I got it caught somewhere and it broke. But here's my 8 colors. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I labeled the top of my jars with a number on there that goes along with my colors on here. So every time I get them out to play with them, I need to get out my little strip of baked clay to see what my colors are. This one is this butterfly will be ended up on this piece of filigree. And I want it in teals and silvers and pinks and things like that. And then I'm going to put tiny gemstones. I've got some real small ones in this little jar of different colors and different sizes. And I'm going to put them within the butterfly wings. There's some tricks about using a brush, especially with powders and chalks and things that you got to be careful of when you're using them, because they splurt everywhere. If you handle your brush incorrectly. So learn your brushes. That's real important. Learn what your brush does and how you can control it. Okay, so this is my number 2. This is my teal one right here. And I don't know if you've used these interface colors, but they look white with a little bit of the color glitter in there. But once you put it on, especially dark clay, it does a whole different thing. And you'll be able to see the colors. Okay, so I think I want to start right here. And I'm not going to start in the smallest space. Let me get you out where you can see what I'm doing, but close enough to see what I'm doing. Does that make sense? I'm going to start right in here, and I don't want to start in the smallest space. I want to start in one of the larger areas and put down more of the powder. And then I can move it around from there. And yes, this is going to take time. And it's tedious, detailed work. But that's one of the things I like to do. So you can see there already, it's already showing up teal on here. And it's pretty much in the line and where I want it to be. These are butterflies, so you know, it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. It does help if you set it on something, so you can turn it around easily. And we'll set it on this piece of press and seal that happens to be here. And again, I will start in my larger area, and I'm going to more or less drag my paint or drag my powders like you would paint, and not go back and forth. I'm going to take my brush in one direction, and when it's a small area, put less pressure on it, and then when you get to a larger area, just drag that powder across there, and you can add a little bit more pressure to your brush. Okay, I went ahead and did all of the butterflies with the mica powders, and because it was just taking so long, I didn't want this video to be that long because I still have some other stuff that I want to show you. This is the metallic one, and this is basically regular Pearl X mica powders, and they are the metallic tones. So I want to go through one by one and show you my intentions with each one of these. But this is the one that I'm going to put on the square filigree. And I left it the way it was. It's that antique brass look. And I don't think that's my orange one, no. Anyhow, I'm going to put an orange stone in here. And I don't know if I'm going to put anything else up in here or not. I kind of like the way that the filigree looks, and that it's open and that you can see it. Now I will have to put some clay on the back to put my holder on. And at this point I'm not real sure which pin back I'm going to use, but we'll get to that. My next one is the purple one. This was the antique bronze, and I put a violet Inca gold on it. And like I said earlier, as long as you bake the Inca gold on your piece, whatever it is, it's permanent. Whether it's clay or whatever else it is, it's permanent. these are going to go in this direction. And I'm going to use the purple stone, and I'm going to attach it in the middle. And I think I'm going to put a tie back on this one. You can wear it horizontal or you can wear it vertical. And we'll go through how to attach all of that on that piece. Now this is a long piece, and I've left it in the antique bronze. And it's quite long. So my long feather, I did these real simple since these others were so detailed in color. And I'm going to let this feather follow up this side. And I'm going to let this feather go up this side. And I have a big area here. And I love these tiny cabochons that Tiny Pandora has. I'm going to add these 3 little tiny cabochons in a straight line, more or less. Can't get that one to turn right. And put those 3 on there. And you can see they're multicolored. They're green, they're yellow, and they're purple. And however the light hits them is what you see. So that's why I kept this one so simple. With the colors, I wanted to bring out the colors in those cabochons. And I did this piece of filigree with turquoise Inca gold. And I'm going to put this butterfly on here. And I've got some smaller turquoise stones that I'm going to add in here, and maybe some pink ones. And these were the antennas that went with this butterfly. And I guess if you left it as a whole, let me put that on that tile so you can see it better. If you left it as a whole stamp, then if you get your detail in the little lines, then it would be fine, but you'd need to leave a lot of the clay that's around it, because this is what happens. No matter how carefully I cut it out, it's still choppy looking, and it's just too thin to work with. So I cut it off, and I'm going to take some ball head pins and put a seed bead on the end, and put antennas coming out his head laying up into the filigree. The antennas will come out through here, and that way I can bring them up, curve them around, do whatever to make it look nice, and they'll be there, and they still won't interfere with anything because they're not going to be long enough to go over the edge of the filigree. Now my next one is this blue butterfly. And I did it in all different blues and whites and no silver. These are all either the micro white or they're really sparkly in here. I'm going to show you the difference in these micro powders. I'm going to talk about the Mica Powders in just a second, but let me show you what I did, because you've got to get your edges, you've got to get those edges cleaned up before you put it on your filigree, whatever you want to do with it. And I ended up putting everything on tiles so they would stay down while I cut them. And actually while I was putting the mica powder on them. And I'm going to take my silicone rubber tip tool and I'm just going to go down, and it doesn't take a lot, and get those edges smooth, because you don't want those raggedy edges on your piece. With any piece that you make in polymer clay, get it as professional as possible, and especially if you're selling them. If you make earrings, make earring backs. Put a back layer on them, and you know, trim around them, do whatever with your necklaces and pendants, and just make it really professional, and texturize the back. Make the back just as pretty as the front, because I'm telling you, people turn them over and look at them, and if the back isn't done well, they're going to think, well, you know, they really didn't care enough. They didn't finish this back. They just left it. So make sure that your back of your pieces are done just as well as the front. If you don't take pride in your work, nobody else is either. So, you know, you take pride in it and finish it and have it really professional looking. Now, I may add some antennas on this butterfly too. It didn't have any on the stamp, but I think butterflies need antennas. And I just may put them on as well. You'll get to see that. And this butterfly is going on this piece of filigree, which has silver Inca gold on it. This one was the same as the others. It was the antique bronze. And I'm going to put little stones of blue. I've got a big blue stone, or a larger blue stone, that I'm going to set right in there. And I can't get it pushed in well enough for it to sit up straight. There we go. That looks a little bit better. And I'm going to put some clear crystal rhinestones and maybe some dark ones in here, dark blue ones in here. But I thought I'd keep this butterfly a little bit more simple and just do the blues and the whites. Now let's talk a minute about mica powders. I have a whole lot of Pearl X powders, and some of them come in this size jar, which is 3 lifetimes of mica powders. I don't know whoever would use that much mica powder. Or they come in this size jar. And this is what the metallic mica powders look like. Let me get something in, because some people may not have used mica powders. They're just a powder, and if you're putting it on you can see the metallics in them and the micas in them. And if you're putting them on a flat piece of clay, like an earring or a necklace that doesn't have a design like these butterflies and feathers did, you need to burnish it down. I couldn't burnish it down on these designs, or I'd have lost my design. But they also need sealed after they're baked. And mica powders do not mix together like your chalk pastels or your pan pastels. They just don't blend together and stuff. So you need to decide where to put them while you're putting them. And they don't blend. You can't blend. You can't take like a light color and a dark color and blend them together and come up with a medium color. It just doesn't work in mica powders. Okay, this one is an interface color. It's actually a red interface color. Now, does that look red to you? Let me show you. Let me take a little piece of clay here and put it on my clay and rub it. Now this means interface is going to change, just like interface paint and anything else. It's going to change its color. They also have dual colors, which is 2 into 1. And now you can see the red in that. But when you look at it in a jar, it doesn't look red. So always have some extra scrap clay handy to try your colors out on, just like with this blue one. I wasn't sure if I had enough blues to give me difference in colors. Like this one is the True Blue and the Pearl X. And some of these are the Born Pretty colors. And I don't have the name of them. They just came in a set that I bought and I put numbers on them. But those colors are like right here, which is different than the True Blue. This is a different type of blue with a little bit more sparkle at this point. And let me put a lid on this one before I spill it. And I also use some Christy Friesen Mica Powders. They're the best. They're so cool. And these two happen to have glitter in them. The white one is called Reflections, and it is gorgeous. And then the blue one is called Zowie. Doesn't that sound like Christy Friesen? And they are really cool to use. And I used in one of the other butterflies, I used the Tide Pool. And this is a Christy Friesen one. And you can see it looks more like a regular mica powder. And this is one of the Born Pretty colors. So this one I'm getting ready to show you is number 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's this blue-green. That. It looks totally white with a little bit of shimmer in it on this. So let's see what it looks like on a piece of clay. Let me turn that piece over. And there's your color. I think it's amazing how these things work. Whether it be paint or mica powders or whatever, I just think when you put something white looking on a piece of clay or a painting or whatever and it turns into a color, it just amazes me. And that's why I just get in such a creative mood and just go to town. So I'm not going to bake these yet. I'm actually going to put them on the pieces of filigree and set the stones in them that I'm going to set. And I'll show you how to do that and put the pin backs on. So I will set the stones using Gem Sticky, which is a Tiny Pandora product. And it's a gooey, sticky little mess. It's a UV product. And you put it on raw polymer clay or baked, but you can put it on your raw clay and set your stone and put it under the UV light. And it cures clear, and it's also bakeable. So that's why I like to put it on while my clay is raw and then bake it, because it will stay there. So let me get all this cleaned up and get set up, and we will do the stone setting, and I'll show you how to attach your clay pieces to your filigree pieces. That will take some liquid clay, and also how to put some clay on the back to hold on the tie tack back and the pin back. I'm anxious to try this. This is, like I said earlier, like a super duper little earring post. So we'll see how this works out. Teresa has got better pin backs in her shop, tiny pin door, than what these are. But when I started playing around with this today, I just got so excited, or last night actually when I started, I just got so excited that I thought, wait a minute, I've got some pin backs somewhere. And I found them, which is a good thing. So we'll come back in just a little bit.